Shadow of the Erdtree is a DLC for Elden Ring with some new bosses that I want to one-shot. The goal is to one-shot all DLC bosses, and all other bosses that are necessary for achieving this goal. This time I want to one-shot the entire health bar of every boss, even if he has multiple phases. So not a one-shot per phase, but the entire health bar in one shot. I did patches first for the Margit's Shackle. At first I thought I'd go for magic damage, but I quickly found out that this is not a good strategy for the early game, as you can see in this clip. All of the good spells require a lot of stats or are locked after late game bosses. I went to get the pizza cutter for Margit. This is close to the Godskin Noble, so I gave him a try. I first upgraded the pizza cutter to +6. If I can defeat the Godskin Noble, then I can upgrade it further. If I hit a boss with sleep pots, then they'll take 1 damage. I hope you guys will forgive the 1 HP if it happens. I'll make sure I'll do enough damage, even without the 1 HP difference. Since I didn't defeat the Godskin Noble, I'll be attempting Margit with the pizza cutter upgraded to +6. The dumpling mask adds 10% damage after madness. Defeating Margit grants me a second talisman slot. I did the Crystallienne for smithing stones. Cleanrot Knight Duo to get a talisman that grants extra runes from enemies. Very nice for farming some levels. I want to defeat every boss with 1 hit or less. If they fall off the edge and die of gravity, then that counts in my book. I used the talisman and a gold pickled fowl foot for even more runes. I got the giant crusher to +14, let's see how much damage it deals to Godrick. About half his health, that's less than I hoped for. Let's go try something else. Behind the red wolf is Rennala. After defeating Rennala I can respect my levels if I want to. I found some more smithing stones and upgraded the giant crusher to +19. Let's see how much damage we deal now. The Ash of War I was using on the giant crusher was Determination, which adds 60% more damage to your next hit. Behind Godskin Noble is the Ash of War Royal Knight Resolve, which does the same, but adds 80%. That's an easy 20% increase in damage. I need a little bit more damage to defeat Godskin Noble, so I go defeat the Kindred of Rot Duo. They drop a talisman which adds 20% damage for 20 seconds after someone has been poisoned. The Commander's Standard is slightly better than Golden Vow. The downside is that this buff lasts shorter. It often runs out too fast to stack all the buffs that I want. That's the main reason I don't use it very often. To defeat O'Neill I need a bit more damage. That's why I go to Gillica for the Sword Talisman, which gives 10% more damage when my health is full. So I want to defeat Godrick. For that I need Royal Knight's Resolve from Godskin Noble. To defeat him I need the Commander's Standard from O'Neill. But to defeat him I need the Sword Talisman from Gillica. That ghost spooked me. Too little damage, let's try with some more buffs. After that whole shopping trip, still not enough damage to one-shot Godrick. Deathbird for Red Feather Talisman. 20% more damage when below 20% health. Putrescent Avatar for Flame Damage Boosting Tear. Giant Crusher plus 19 with Flame Infusion and Royal Knight Resolve Ash of War. Flask has Flame Damage Boosting Tear and Strength. That is enough, right? Right. Godskin Duo for Terra Magica, which adds 35% more damage to magic spells. This is for later. Scadutree Avatar for Holy, Lightning, and Magic Tear. Deathbird for Twinbird Kite Shield. Adds 5% more damage when below 20% health. So the same effect as Red Feather Talisman, but then in shield form. Cleanrot Knight for Winged Sword Talisman, which raises damage when dealing successive attacks. Very nice in combination with Pizza Cutter. Draconic Tree Sentinel to get into Lendl. Falling Star Beast for Smithing Stones. Rennala to be able to progress. Also so that we get a third talisman slot and so that I can respec later when I need to. Break shield of 2 minions. Locate third minion. Use buffs. Break shield of third minion, try not to get hit. How did I survive that hit? I didn't see how far this boss was because of how big the hammer is. We defeated Edgar for the Blood Loss Talisman. For the Magic Boosting Talisman, we need to progress Runni's quest. For that we need to defeat Radahn. Lower health outside of boss arena. Run back on horseback so that Radahn stops shooting arrows. Buff up. casually walk up to him and one-shot him. Godfrey's goes to progress in the game. Margit's shackle also works on his twin brother Margit. I thought I wouldn't kill him in time, but then the blood loss procs. Vike because I like his armor set. When I'm not doing one-shots, I'm exploring the world in style. Neil is not needed right now, but after defeating him we can go to the consecrated snowfield for more upgrade materials and the Haligtree. There is an easy way to defeat him, but I wanted to see if this was possible. It could be done, but not required right now. The last boss before we can enter the DLC, Mohg. Flask just has strength and dex. Some buffs outside of the boss arena, some inside while he walks towards us. I forgot that blood loss doesn't proc on this version of Mohg. Seems like it didn't have to. Scadu level 15, Giant Crusher plus 22, let's see how much damage we do. I expected little damage, but this is even less damage than I was expecting. In the DLC there is the blood-sucking tear. This drains your health, but adds 20% damage. I didn't time the health drain correct, so in the first attempt I wasn't below 20% health, so I missed the buffs from Red Feather Talisman and the Twin Bird Kite Shield. Here I did everything correct, but it wasn't enough. Blessing of the Erdtree gives some health per second, which makes timing the blood-sucking tear easier. I needed the Faith Talisman to give me enough stats to cast Blessing of the Erdtree. I switch it for a damage-boosting talisman. When going through a boss door, the Blessing of the Erdtree keeps healing, but blood-sucking tear stops damaging when going through the door. A Pilar keeps me safe for enough time, so that I can one-shot this guy. Gaius defends 5 Scadutree fragments. You need 3 to increase your level. I go back to get some more items before I respec into magic. No FP cost for a few seconds tear. Extra damage on charged casts talisman. I went to Faramazula before defeating the fire giant, which I know I can't one-shot at the moment. I did this by wrong warping. This is the first and only glitch I'll be using this run. I did it to get the ancient dragon lightning strike. Walk forward in stealth until the boss spawns. Look at the dragon's ear and throw 2 sleeping pots. Now you can do all your buffs. In the DLC you can get a tear that makes you spend no stamina for a few seconds. That in combination with the no FP cost for a few seconds tear, makes it able to do this. Keep attacking the ground, even after the first guy is dead. That was a test to get the timing down. This time with some buffs. With Gaius defeated, we can get to Scadutree level 16. After we get the golden hippopotamus, we can get to Scadutree level 18. He receives extra lightning damage because he is in water. Trying Jori with Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. This spell works great on big targets, but Jori is too small to get hit very often. Testing to see how I can hit Messmer after the opening. I want to kill both phases with the same Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Looks like I figured it out. Now for some more damage. Hitting the second part is partially luck. I've seen ADLS go straight or curve clockwise. What makes it do this? I don't know. Just a little more damage. The armor set from Rakshasa gives 2% extra damage per piece. I'll be using this armor set a lot. No more fighting in my underwear. Healing myself fully to time the blood-sucking tear. Flask has blood-sucking and lightning damage tear.
channel in the embrace of Messmer's flame.
The second part hit. And it's enough damage to kill the boss. But the death animation of the boss takes too long, so it didn't count. My heart was racing. Don't fuck up the dodges here. Resp keen to try something else on Jori. Jori was a huge wall. After Jori we get access to the Abyssal Woods, which has 2 Scada fragments, a Madness Talisman and Fist Weapon which would boost our damage significantly. This was all the damage I could do, but there is a talisman which gives 20% more damage after sleep. It is locked behind this guy. I use a Holy Infused Giant Crusher. Before returning to Jori, let's pay the Dancing Lion a visit. Having to do one more buff inside the arena, or else buffs would run out. Okay, no more putting of Jori. Let's do a test where we sleep Jori. One sleep pot is enough, and I think I can hit him while he's asleep for even more damage. Can't use the blood-sucking tear, since his opening is not scripted. I can't really time to get below 20% health. Jori always does 9 pillars, so I know when I can use seppuku. It looked like I missed the first pot, since he didn't go to sleep. Looks like it was because he was in an attack animation, so the second pot was not needed. Finally we can get extra the madness buffs. We can't go beyond Scado level 18 before we go to Anirielum. When we go to Consort Radahn, there is an NPC fight just before. This is not a boss, so I didn't record the fight. I wanted Rotten Dragon Breath for this fight, but soon figured out that the NPCs can't be rotted. Killing this guy for Selen's quest and the Luzat Helm for extra magic damage. Defeating the Nox Duo for the Luzat staff. I thought I had to kill this duo boss to talk to Jaren and progress Selen's quest further, but he wasn't there. So this was just a waste of energy. Respaj to a magic build for Neil. Behind Neil lies the consecrated snowfield. This gives us access to Graven Mass Talisman, more upgrade materials and access the Haligtree. I think the same strategy as for Neil will also work on the Centipede boss. Cast Terra Magica on the edge of the door, so that you can stand in its aura once inside. After the Centipede and Messmer, we can access the final area and get to max Scadu level 20. Defeated this guy for a defensive tear for the NPC fight. Reduce next incoming attack by 90% tear. Needed to get past Sewer Mohg to get the Madness Stone cookbook. Need the Madness Stones to speeden up my buff rotation later in this run. The hardest boss to one-shot, Midra. I test out the Giant Crusher, not even half his damage. I've seen somebody one-shot this boss with a Thorn spell, but apparently it got nerfed into the ground. I tried getting Estelle's Meteor spell, but it was so bad that I didn't even save the recording. Getting the multi-hit damage boosting tier from this guy in the consecrated snowfield. Elamir of the Briar drops the Miria's Executioner Sword, which is what I eventually used to defeat Midra. The Scaly Misbegotten drops the Rusted Anchor, which does pierce damage. Pierce damage weapons deal counter-hit damage. There are better pierce weapons if you have a lot of levels. If you can only put points in strength, then this is the best one. Got to get the Haligtree secret medallion, but I already had it. No need to do this boss at all. This boss has little health and defense, but can be difficult to hit. Once at the Haligtree, there is an somber ancient dragon smithing stone behind her to upgrade the Maria's Executioner Sword to max. I've used other somber smithing stones to upgrade other weapons. Used the Madness Talisman and Fist weapon to boost my damage a little more. Time to clean up some of the DLC bosses before defeating Consort Radahn and Midra. I kind of forgot Rellana. There is a new tear in the DLC to boost guard counters. If you deflect 4 strikes, you can boost your damage by 80%. I get the highest poise armor from the NPC fight after this boss so that my attack wouldn't get interrupted. I don't end up using it. The deflect strategy is a bit difficult to use, so I try hitting the boss really hard. This is the buff routine, now I just need to hit a counter strike. I need to time my attack with hers, but the wind-up is too long to react. So I just need to swing and hope that she strikes me back. She lifts her hand in the first attempt, but doesn't count as counter strike. This attempt she lifts her hand similarly, and this counts. Don't know why, I'm not going to question it. This was a quick test to see how hard it is to hit Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike on this guy. This guy's second phase is so badass. I get lucky here with lots of hits, just didn't have enough damage. One-shotting Metyr with Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike seemed like a good idea. It's a big target and stands in water, which increases lightning damage. But after many attempts I tried going back to the magic build. It didn't take much attempts to get the one shot. I got lucky with the attack she did, giving me a lot of time. She survived with 16 horsepower out of 43,296. A little more damage from buffs will do it. Now that Metyr Mother of Fingers is gone, a new Mother of Fingers rises, which I also put down. Trust no one, not even yourself. Defeating Consort Radahn with Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike isn't going to work, since I can't find a window large enough to cast it while being close enough to the middle so that the second part of the spell also hits. Let's put a pin in Consort Radahn and try Midra first. Run past Midra in his second phase without locking on. Locking on will stop you from running for a second, which is enough to get hit. After the first attack you can lock on. I try the same thing, with different buff routines. Here I was killed just before he last hit, maybe it would have killed him. The same buff routine as last time, this time with a better execution. Still need a little more damage. Let's put a pin in Midra and first try Scadutree Avatar. Getting the positioning right in Phase 2 was the hardest part. I thought I used Vow of the Indomitable too early, so I do it twice. Doesn't matter, still counts. Let's do a damage test. 9,555 with some buffs using a holy infusion, a lot more with a simple heavy infusion. Now that I know which infusion does the most damage, let's try the buff rotations. If I can find a way to do what I just did, but add the poison and blood loss buffs, then that should be enough. Even if I hit him here, the buffs were running out. I need to find a way to do this way faster. Defeating the Regal Ancestor Spirit will give me Soul Stifler to use in a different buff rotation, which I don't end up using. To progress Alexander's questline and getting the Ash of War damage boosting talisman, I need to kill the Fire Giant. I want to use the Ash of War damage boosting talisman for Maria's Executioner Sword to defeat. I wait for the Fire Giant to get away from the center by doing my buffs here. Then I run past him and finish my buff routine. The Fire Giant follows me back to the center where he starts his second phase. Testing the damage of Alexander's Talisman versus the Winged Sword Talisman. Adding 15% more damage to the Ash of War will do more damage than 11% after ramping up, right? Apparently not. The Zweihander was not better than the Rusted Anchor, but maybe the Queline's Greatsword is. Same thing, with some more dex and faith, this sword will be better than just strength. So if I level up more, the Queline's Greatsword will be better, but I don't want to spend time farming more souls. I figure out that I can get instant poison from raw meat dumplings. This is much faster than throwing 2 poison pots. After progressing Edgar's quest I can get 10 raw meat dumplings, which requires me to defeat the Leonine Misbegotten. I get the medicine bell bearing from this hunter to get Nutri-Leasing Bowl uses, which is faster than casting Fire Cleanse Me. He survives with 189 out of 46,134 health, time to put 1 more point in strength. This time he survives with 25 health. 1 more point in strength should do it. I think I hit him a little too early, meaning it didn't count as a counter hit. Here I forgot to switch 1 talisman. I figured out that I didn't need to be below 20% health before going for the hit. If my counter strike lands, then I'm also hit, bringing me below 20% health. With this information I'm able to improve my buffing routine slightly, where I don't need to cleanse the poison. Time for Midra again. I do everything right, but some buffs run out during the attack. Here I mess up by not switching to the Poison Fist weapon before poisoning myself, which means I'm missing 7.5% damage. So close. I think I forgot one talisman. Use Lulling Branch to inflict sleep on yourself. Slow build up though, so we need to wait a bit. Rocking sleep and madness as close together as possible. Finally, this was definitely the hardest boss to one-shot. This were all DLC Remembrance bosses. Now to finish the game. You guys know all the buffs I'm doing here. However, I use another item which I have not used before. The Uplifting Aromatic, so that I survive the hit from Maliketh, making it easier to land a counter hit. Sir Gideon off near the All-Knowing didn't know how to dodge this one shot. Same strategy as Messmer and Fire Giant also works here. Thank you all so much for watching. See you all next time. Huggy kissy.